Okay, welcome back. So in this session, we're going to have a quick look at if we've set up a writing task, then what can we see? How do we check on the students and what information can we get out of it? So logging into Scribo as I just did and going to a class where I've got some writing tasks set up. So here I've got some questions that I've got students to answer in Scribo. If I want to see what they've done, I click on Monitor here. That then shows me a list of all of the students, and it tells me how many words each student has completed. That gives me an idea of how in-depth they've been about answering questions for me. Now, if I want to look at an individual student's work, then I can just click on Open over here on the right. And that will let me see what that student's typed, and it will let me do a writing analysis if I wish. So over here you can see that I had a word target of about 300, perhaps maybe up to 10 paragraphs, because there were 10 questions that I was asking. And the topic was answer the questions on a particular page of the textbook that we use. I can click on Writing Check, and it will take me back to having an overview of the piece of writing that was done and having a whole series of different options for things that I can look at and analyze and get information on. In addition, across the top here, I've got some more features. So, for instance, on the left here, I can see that I've got two versions of this document. So I can look at version 1, or I can look at version 2. I can see how it's changed. That's really handy if you want to check how students have been working over time, because then you'll have multiple versions, because each time they go in and save some more, it saves as a new version. Just open that up again. So the information that we've got here, as I said, is quite comprehensive. You're given an overview of the piece of writing, so things like word choice, language, writing suggestions to do with sentence structure and sentence length. And this is just a general overview of it. But if you want to then go into more detail, then you can choose some of these options on the left. So, for instance, if you want to see how well they've used grammar and spelling, then clicking on that, you can see that there are 21 grammar issues, 23 spelling problems, and several things to do with writing clarity. Now they're highlighted over here, or underlined rather, in the particular color for those things. So spelling problems are underlined in red. Grammar problems underlined in purple. And the writing clarity underlined in green, like this one over here. So you just wave your mouse over the particular thing to see what it suggests and what it's saying is wrong. Now the students can do their writing check and get all of that information as well, but it lets you check on what information they're getting. If we look at paragraphs, so it gives us information about each of the paragraphs, although in this case, because I was getting them to answer questions, each of the paragraphs is really short, so it's finding that it doesn't have enough information to do a thorough analysis. If they were writing an essay and the paragraphs were 3 to 4 to 5 sentences long, then there would be an analysis done for each one, and they'd be looking at things like, are there long sentences in here that are perhaps too long? Do you need to break them down? And how well structured is the paragraph? One that I do like to look at is this button here, cohesives. So this looks at their use of cohesives. Are they using the word and too often? Are they interspersing that with such as, and also, things like that? And if the students see this information and start to use the suggestions, then their writing is going to become much easier to read. We can look at their vocabulary, so they've used a lot of common words, not too many intermediate, and some in academic words or advanced words. If we look at their sentences, we can see that they've got quite a number of simple sentences. They've got some sentence fragments, so they might want to look at that. There are some complex sentences and some compound complex sentences. And again, things are highlighted in a particular color. So they can go back and they can have a look at those sentences and they can analyze them. Now it also shows them where they've got long sentences. So, a sentence here, 46 words, that's possibly going a bit too far. They'd want to break that down into shorter sentences. So perhaps two shorter sentences rather than one 46-word sentence. And again, that makes the writing easier to read. We can actually get an overall readability score for the different paragraphs. So the first paragraph is approximately grade 10 to 12. The second paragraph is actually at a tertiary level. So anything taller than that is going to be tertiary to tertiary graduate. There's one back here that's, if I click on it, you'll see, even though it says grade 7, it's only because it's a single word saying benefits, and then they've listed them underneath. This one, I think that it's a fragment, so it's not very clear. So that comes down to a lower writing level again. But this gives you some very powerful tools to actually further analyze and further help students with their writing. I'm finding it really, really useful in my chemistry and biology classes. Now, if you want to find out more information about any of these particular characteristics that are being analyzed, you can click on the Tell Me More button there. There's actually some really good information about how this is being analyzed and what the scores and things mean. So there's good help available for you to actually delve a bit deeper into this stuff. I've certainly made good use of it. In addition, across the top here, you've got the ability to print this report or to copy it. If you need to, you can zoom in or out. You can have the text read to you if you want. So there are lots of tools in here that are useful at different times for different purposes. I thoroughly encourage you to actually have an explore and see how you go with using some of this stuff. If people want to explore a little bit further, have a look at the 3 dots here and some of the things that are available here. I haven't gone into them yet, but I might do another webinar about peer review at some point. Have an explore and have some fun with it.